Who am I? My name is Jennifer Sanchez. I'm the founder of the Wise Alliance Network. I'm also a real estate investor. So definitely, if you guys need more info, feel free to send me a message. Go to wisealliancenetwork.com. You are watching the Wise Coffee Chat Show on WRMN 1410. Super excited to have our guests. Can you introduce yourself, Gina, to the listeners?
Sure. My name is Gina Diaz. I am a Illinois licensed attorney, an investor, author, mom,
Everything.
cancer survivor, mentor, whatever you need. I'm here to help. Been doing real estate investing for about 10 years. Also have a real estate investing women's group where we teach women how to invest in real estate and, become financially independent. And I have my own law practice. We primarily focus on real estate investing for investors, also do immigration, some civil, and a little bit of everything.
That's awesome. So you guys, I personally know Gina. This is my not only a friend, but my attorney as well. So we work closely together. So tell me a little bit, Gina, about, I know you said cancer survivor, you said all these things that you do. What led you into being a lawyer? How did it all start for you?
Well, I originally wanted to be an actress. I wanted to be a telenovela actress, and I was gonna turn 18 and go to Mexico City and become a big famous telenovela actress, right? I took acting all my life, and that's really what I wanted to do. But then, I got pregnant when I was 19.
Hold up, I did not know
You didn't
this.
know that?
No.
Oh my God, yeah. So you don't listen to any of my speeches? I talk about it all the
But I
time.
remember this part.
Yeah, that's really what I wanted to do. And but I got pregnant when I was 19, and then my mom's kind of like, wake up, you ain't going nowhere, like get a job and kind of put your feet on the ground. And then I started working at a law firm, and I really, really liked, you know, uh what I did at the law firm. So I said, well, you know what, I'm gonna become a lawyer because it's kind of acting anyway, right? Like, half I'm like, I can use my acting skills and to do good. So I went to school to get my paralegal degree because I thought, well, let me see if this is really what I want to do because it's not cheap and it's a lot of work. And I just really, really liked it. And I've always been someone that kind of stands up for justice when I see something that's not right. Like I'm a metiche, I kind of get in there and talk and always it's like, wait, you can't do that, So my mom's like, well, yeah, you could definitely be a lawyer. You'd love to argue with people and stick your nose where it doesn't belong sometimes. So I figured, why not? So then that's really how I decided to become a lawyer.
Oh, really? Well, that's good. I mean, yeah, your personality fits so well for it. So I totally agree. So you became a lawyer, and then how long have you been practicing law now?
Oh God, without aging myself, because I started when I was 10, about 20 years.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
awesome. And you focus on mainly real estate for real estate investors? I mean, law for real estate or what?
Yeah, so I mean, it kind of fell into my lap, right? I've been doing real estate since I started studying for the bar because obviously, like I said, I had a child, and when I went to law school in Michigan, I came back, and I was studying for the bar, so I couldn't really have a job while I was studying for the bar because who wants to take that thing more than once, right? So I was like, well, what am I going to do? I still have a child, I still have responsibilities, I gotta find some way of making money. Friend of mine said, well, why don't you become a realtor? And I was like, I have zero interest in real estate. I have zero interest in being a realtor. I don't like any of it. And he's like, well, if you sell a couple homes, you can make a commission. And I'm like, oh, wait, that could kind of get me through the summer while I study for the bar. So sure. So then I went and got my real estate license and I started learning about real estate. And then I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. I could do this. Um, a little closer. Sorry. I closed on two properties while I was studying for the bar, which the commission got me through, kind of all that, so I could still, not leave my child to my parents 100% responsibility. So then I took the bar, and while the market crashed in 2008, 2009, a lot of people wanted to do loan modifications. It was kind of like the thing to do. And I was doing criminal work because I, started off working at the Cook County State's attorney as a prosecutor. Then I switched over to defense. And I was like, well, I don't really do this, but so many people, Hispanic people, were like, I need to find a Spanish speaking attorney. Can you help me? So I started like kind of helping people do loan modifications, and that kind of evolved into me also helping them with foreclosure defense. And then that kind of evolved into doing short sales. And then me and my husband always were like, real estate is kind of the thing that most investors, most wealthy people have in their portfolio. So
Yeah.
there's obviously some truth to the fact that real estate is what creates the wealth, right? But we just didn't know how. We were always like, okay, but we thought it was the traditional way. You got to save some money, put 20-25% down, then take out a loan, have great credit, all that. So and so we were kind of saving for that. And in the meantime, I was helping other people, with the short sales, with the loan modifications, all that. And one day, a friend of mine invited me to a event, a real estate conference, and I knew that she was somebody that didn't wasn't born into wealth, and obviously worked really hard to be where she's at. So I'm like, you kind of have to follow the people you want to be like. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go and figure out what she's doing that's making her so successful. I went to this real estate conference, fell in love, knew it was the real deal, signed up for the program. Within 6 months, I already had 7 properties, using zero of my own money, using other people's money, which I didn't know you could do because you don't know what you don't know, right? And then because of joining that group, then all of a sudden people were like, "Oh, you're a real estate attorney. Can you help me? Can you help me?" And the challenges that investors face versus a traditional home buyer are very different. Traditional home buyer obviously is probably not going to buy a distressed property. They're probably going to buy retail. And there's going to be little home inspection issues, but nothing major like investors where we're going to have to clear liens. We're going to have to like go to court and get demolition orders vacated, all these different nuances. So I started all of a sudden learning it because I was doing it for myself and doing it for other real estate investors.
You said demolition orders. I was like, oh, I know those.
Yeah, you definitely do. So real estate investors pick properties that are distressed. So you really have to know how to work around those with the villages, with the city. They're not easy to do and they take a lot of time. So it's kind of like a niche, right? And then just because of what I do for myself, I help other people do it. It's just kind of developed into that. So I would say 75% of my real estate practice is investors only. I still do traditional home buyers, of course, but I think that my specialty is definitely working with real estate investors.
Oh yeah, of course, definitely, I agree. And then I know at one point you were doing immigration law, right? You were heavily into that as well, right?
Yeah, I still do it. I would say immigration and real estate are my two, me personally, niches. My law firm, obviously, we handle all different types of laws, civil, evictions, foreclosures, some family issues, things like that. But me personally, it's immigration and real estate.
So what are your I'm just curious what are your thoughts without getting into politics on what's happening right now with immigration?
How much time we have?
We have a full hour.
I mean, it's very sad, what's happening. I never thought that I would live through something like this. I mean, my best friend is Jewish, and I told her, I said, obviously, I'm not trying to downplay, the Holocaust and everything that happened, but I feel like we're kind of, in a similar situation because people are being thrown into, these detention centers that are just deplorable. And they're just being stopped on the street because they look illegal, whatever that means, And I mean, we see people that are US citizens being detained just because of the way they look. So I think it's horrible. It's just so unfair, and due process is out the window. Judges are being terminated if they rule favorably for people, and I feel like we're living in a very surreal time, and it's really hard. And for me as an attorney, it makes it even harder because they come to me for help, and to be able to say I can't do anything
Wow.
just really, really sucks because you want to help, that these are their rights, but you know that they're not going to be respected. So what do you do?
Yeah, that's such a sad thing too. And I remember we've had a conversation. You said it's just a sad time, and your daughter's following into your footsteps, right? And
Yes.
she passed the exam, right?
Yeah, she just graduated from law school in May, and now she's practicing. She's doing real estate as well. I mean, immigration. I told her, I said, why? And
Yeah.
she's like, I mean, I'm an immigrant. I came here when I was 5 years old. I was born in Mexico originally as well. So she's like, Mom, I feel like I got to give back. And obviously, she was born here, but it's a very, it makes me feel very proud to know that I didn't even have to put that in her. I was like, go do personal injury or something that's gonna like make you rich or, not that hard. And she's like, no, this is what I want to do. So she's doing immigration law right now as well. And I mean, she is starting to realize why I said don't do it because it's very heartbreaking. You want to help people. You really want to like be there, especially when you see people like 70-year-old people that have been here for 50 plus years.
Oh, no.
And, they stop to get gas at a gas station and now they're being detained because of the way they look. And they're 70 some years old. They don't even speak the language. They've been here their whole life. Now they're going to be detained at that age. It's just like, oh my God. Or the children that are
Yeah.
being like detained for no reason. And they don't even know when you're asking them, where are your papers, they don't even know what that means.
Yeah, of
And
course.
clearly they don't care.
Yeah, yeah, that's sad. And I know you're vocal about it. That's why I'm asking. I've seen you post things on your social media platform. Um, so now I'm just curious, as your mom and you're watching, like you said something, you'd never really pushed law into your daughter. So they just watched you doing all this and she picked it up by herself, right?
Yeah, I mean, I told her, I said, she wanted to do journalism, and
Okay.
she's a great writer and everything. So I told her, yeah, you should do that. But I did say, you should probably get a law degree first so that you can use that. But thinking it's just going to be something to add to her resume, she's not really going to practice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very proud of her.
Well, that's good. Yeah, no, she's awesome. So now with everything that you're doing right now with the real estate, right? And the law, right? How do you balance it all? I know that's probably one of my biggest questions, right? Because you're a mom of three, a wife in real estate. I'm just real curious to know, like, what's your tip on balancing? If there is a balance, I don't know.
Right? You don't sleep pretty much.
You know.
No, I mean, my husband's wonderful. He's also a real estate, a realtor and a general contractor. So his job is a little bit more flexible. He's mostly on the road a lot. So he helps out a lot. I'm an only child, so I get my parents all to myself. And they also help out a lot. So they're actually in Mexico right now. So I'm babysitterless.
Oh,
But we make it work. I mean, my children, they're already a little bit older. My youngest is 13, 15 and, 25. So my 25-year-old also helps a lot. So, we just kind of help each other and we just go with the flow. And I think I'm blessed that I can really work from home or, wherever I'm at, make it work. And I have wonderful people around me that it really does take a village. It really, really does.
yeah, especially because I think the Hispanic household and Latino families, we're big on like family. We're big on having all the generations with each other, right? And
Right.
right, so like you said, your parents are there, your kids are there, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm sure when that happens, your kids will be hanging out, right? Like,
Exactly, exactly. I mean, it helps to have, a wonderful support system for sure. I mean, I can't sit here and say I'm Wonder Woman. I do it all alone. I don't. I have a lot of help. I feel very blessed for that. And, you just kind of make it work.
yeah.
It falls into place somehow, some way.
Absolutely. And I know that you've actually we you I when I threw a conference years ago, you're the one that convinced me to get into real estate, unfortunately. It was
No.
you though.
What do you
You
mean,
were the
unfortunately?
I'm just playing. I'm just playing. You're the reason.
Look at how much financial freedom you have
I
now.
know it's great. But it's still very stressful. It
Nothing
comes.
worth it in life is going to be easy,
Yeah.
and that's what I tell people when they're like, well, this is kind of hard, or I got to do this, and it's like, well, listen, you're going to feel better about it when you come out at the end because you put all that blood, sweat, and tears into it. You earned it. It wasn't just handed to you. At least for me, like everything I have in life, I've earned it. Nothing
Yeah.
has been handed to me. So it just feels that much more special. And the first time it may be hard, but I know you're like one on your third or fourth property already, and like it, I'm sure it doesn't feel the same way as it did with your first one.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's better. Yeah, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
it gets better. It gets easier.
It gets easier. So I know that when I had you speak at my conference years ago, the women's conference, you spoke on your story of the ovarian cancer and how you overcame that. So I know we're gonna take a break in a little bit, but how did you navigate that, or tell us a little bit about that story?
Yeah, well, that's actually what made me finally get into real estate. It was just something unexpected. I had just had my youngest daughter, and I had like this horrible pain in my stomach that kept coming and going, coming and going. And, as women were busy, I had at the time I was doing criminal defense work, I had a big America's Most Wanted, profile case that I was going to go to trial on. So I was like, get this baby out because I got trial to take care of, and, I didn't go for my checkup after having my daughter because I was busy with work and I just didn't have time. And, I was at the gym training with, I had gotten a personal trainer to, get back in shape. And um, I just had this excruciating pain in my stomach again. And this time it just didn't go away. I ended up in the emergency room and they're like, "Oh, you have a 5-pound tumor on your left ovary." And I'm
Oh
like,
wow.
"Okay, we'll take it out because I got trial." I gotta go. They're like, "Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit more than that." So, long story short, they found out it was cancer. I had to go through a second procedure for the staging, and it's just a very difficult time. And it made me realize that life can go like this,
Wow.
in a flash of an eye.
And I definitely want to keep talking about this, but you guys stay tuned. We'll be right back. It's a quick break, and we're going to talk more with Gina about her story, how she overcame ovarian cancer. So don't leave. Stay tuned.
I'm Trey Westerberg on 1410 WRM in Elgin, proudly serving the Fox River Valley. This update brought to you by Starbucks. Health officials are sounding the alarm as a highly contagious norovirus dubbed the winter vomiting disease surges nationwide, including in Illinois. Wastewater analysis shows cases rising sharply in Wheaton and Glen Ellen, with spikes just before the holidays. Experts fear a new strain may be more transmissible, causing forceful vomiting, severe diarrhea, and painful stomach cramps. Children, older adults, and people with health conditions are most at risk. Doctors urge vigorous hand washing and strict hygiene to slow the spread. In Aurora, police are searching for a suspect after a 49-year-old man was shot while pumping gas early Monday morning on South Broadway. Officers found the victim with multiple upper body wounds. He's now in stable condition. Police say the shooter approached, opened fire, and fled eastbound. The suspect was last seen wearing a gray winter coat and brown pants. Chief Matt Thomas called it a brazen and unprovoked attack. Anyone with information is urged to contact Aurora Police or Crime Stoppers. In Naperville, a police squad car flipped onto its roof after a 3-vehicle crash Monday night. Officials say the officer was responding to a medical emergency when the collision occurred near 95th Street and Route 59. The officer and 2 others were hospitalized with minor injuries. The cause of the crash is still under investigation. Federal authorities say two Naperville brothers ran a massive insurance fraud scheme, submitting nearly $300 million in false claims for COVID-19 testing that was never provided. Manaj Mohammed and Sufyan Feroz allegedly used straw owners to control 4 labs in Illinois and California, then laundered the proceeds through other businesses. Insurers paid out at least $65 million. Both men face multiple counts of healthcare fraud and money laundering, with potential sentences of up to 20 years if convicted. I'm Trey Westerberg on 1410 WRMN Elgin, proudly serving the Fox River Valley.
Are you like everybody else in the world who has no idea what to get everyone for the holidays? Well, you're in luck. We got you. Hands-free Skechers slip-ins. Because with hands-free Skechers slip-ins, you just step into them and they're on. There's no bending down, no touching, no fuss. Plus, Skechers slip-ins come in everyone's favorite styles and colors. And you can get slip-ins everywhere stylish footwear is sold, including a Skechers store. Or if you're too busy to shop in person, just get them online at Skechers.com, Amazon, and more.
CVS Health supports people in the moments that matter, from picking up a prescription to connecting care. With nearly 5 million daily interactions and serving 185 million consumers and 1.5 million healthcare professionals, CVS Health holds a trusted place in healthcare. By simplifying care and improving health, we're helping people get the care they need. Learn more at cvshealth.com/Investor Day.
Elgin isn't just a city. It's a community built on connection, innovation, and opportunity. And at the heart of it all is the Elgin Chamber of Commerce. For over a century, the Elgin Chamber has helped local businesses grow, connecting entrepreneurs, advocating for progress, and inspiring the leaders of tomorrow. Whether you're a new business just starting out or an established company looking to expand, the Elgin Chamber is your partner for success. Join a powerful network of leaders making a difference in our community every day. Together, we're shaping the future of Elgin, one connection at a time. Elgin Area Chamber of Commerce, where business and community grow together. Call now, 847-741-5660, or go to info@elginchamber.com. Contact Carol Gieske.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast, brought to you by Hot Hands, America's favorite hand warmers. Today, rain and snow shower with cloudy skies and a high near 34, windy with gusts up to 40 miles per hour. Tonight, a slight chance of snow showers before 11 p.m., mostly cloudy with a low around 12. Tomorrow, partly sunny with a high near 22. Currently, it is 30 degrees and overcast. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
The holidays are back at Starbucks, so share the season with a peppermint mocha. Starbucks signature espresso, velvety mocha, and cool peppermint notes, topped with whipped cream and dark chocolate curls. Together is the best place to be at Starbucks.
Find what you love and love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly, B21.
In back, guys. Thank you for chiming in. We're having this conversation with Gina Diaz, attorney. What's the name of the company?
Diaz Case Law.
Diaz Case Law. I should know this. But as we were conversating before we went on the commercial break, we were talking about her story of overcoming ovarian cancer, which is what actually led her into real estate. So I know the last thing that we were talking about is you were sharing how you were working out, you were training, and then you found out you had this mass. Can you keep talking more about that?
Yeah, so I, ended up in that emergency room where they were like, you have this 5-pound tumor that, kind of grew from when I had my daughter. I always say, had I gone and made myself a priority and gotten my checkups and everything, maybe the story would be different, right? But it is what it is. And so at that time, I'm an only child. I have 3 daughters at this time, and I'm pretty much the breadwinner for my family. So it just kind of hit me like, what was to happen if I don't make it out of here? Like, what's going to happen with my children? What's going to happen with my parents? I mean, my husband, I'm sure he would have moved on eventually, even though he says he wouldn't. I'm like, yeah, right. Probably a year later, you'd have, remarried or something. Who knows? But, like I was really worried about, my parents, and my children, because they're women. Not that boys don't need their moms, but women, I think more so than boys, right? Like they need their mother there. So, I didn't have time to really like kind of dwell on it. I just kept thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I going to prepare? And luckily, by the grace of God, I made it out. And, I've been cancer free for, 10 years already. Thank God. And, I changed my whole perspective on life. It wasn't just about like, oh, I'll save tomorrow or I'll get to this tomorrow. It's like, no, whatever I can do today, I'm going to do today because tomorrow's not promised. It's not, guaranteed. So I started thinking, what can I do to be financially stable? And everything that I researched said real estate. you know Real estate is the way to become financially independent, to be able to build your net worth, and to really have some cash flow, right? So everything just kind of fell into place after that. It just kind of goes to show how when you shift your mentality, you really do attract what you want in life, right? So I had started thinking a lot about this, doing my research, and then I just run into a friend of mine at an event that I didn't even want to go to, but I ended up going to. And from there, she's like, "Oh, come to this, real estate investment seminar, that conference that's happening next weekend." It was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It was a 3-day thing. And obviously for me as an attorney, Fridays and Saturdays are my, busiest days. So I'm like, if I'm going to take these 3 days off to go to this conference, they better not come out with some, here's an 800 number, a DVD, and give me 50K. Cause
I know this story.
yeah, because I told my friend, if they do that, I'm coming after you. You're going to pay me my 2 days. So it's just like, I promise you won't regret it. Just go. So I went, and I was kind of surprised that my husband even wanted to go, because we were just kind of over those type of things. But he's like, "Oh, let's give it a shot." I was like, "Okay." So we go, and it really was the best 3 days of my life. It changed my whole outcome in the way I thought and the way I saw things, because you don't know what you don't know. I always tell people this: you don't know what you don't know, and it's okay if you don't know. Like, none of us are born with all this knowledge, right? You get it somehow, whether it's through experiences, through talking to other people, but just be open to receiving it. And if you think you know it, be open to looking at it differently, because when people come in with this mentality of, oh, I'm already an investor, I already know all this, I already do all this, but you're here, right? You're here for a reason. So if you already know it, great. If anything, open up your mind to so that it can confirm what you think you already know. But I promise you, there's at least one thing you don't know, because if you did, you wouldn't be here.
There's so much information on
Oh
real
my
estate
God.
that you cannot like. It's overwhelming
It is.
knowledge. It's like, oh wait, and then you're like, you kind of learn as you go. I feel like like you can't just
Right.
that first time I heard that information at that conference
Yeah.
that you invited me to, and I signed up to. I remember the first day, like that information went over my head. I remember I sat there, and there was a couple people that asked me like, "So what did you think?" I was like, "I don't know what to think." Like it was
Especially because
so-
you had no real estate experience
no
at all,
real estate
right?
background.
You were like completely, which is almost better. I think sometimes people that don't know anything about real estate versus people that know, because you were more open to saying, "Hey, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I want to learn." And sometimes people that already come with some kind of real estate experience are kind of like, that's not what I know. That's not, so they're kind of like, so I think it's almost better in a way when you don't know anything, because you're open to learning, versus you thinking you do know it,
Yeah.
and then you second guess everything.
Yeah, and I remember going there, and I remember talking to you when I went to that conference, and you were like, "I bet you're gonna be on that stage," and then I was like, "You think so?" And then I was like, "Oh, years later, it's like I am on this stage."
Exactly. It's kind of like, I always I wrote a book about being grateful, right? Because I think that gratitude is the attitude that you have to have, right? You have to look at the cup half full, not half empty. So it's all, and tell these to my kids too all the time. I'm like, it's all about your perspective. Like So if you fail at something, don't look at it as a failure, look at it as a lesson. Because if you look at it as a failure, you're probably not going to want to do it again. But if you look at it as a lesson, you're going to take what you learned from there, you're going to try again, and you're going to fix what went wrong so that you can actually make it this time, right? So same thing with real estate, right? I'm not saying that every single deal that I do is a home run, because that's not true. I'd be lying to you if I told you that. But I can tell you that every single deal that I've done has taught me something that has made me better for the next one.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep. That's encouraging, actually. Thank you for sharing that. So, with the ovarian cancer that led you into real estate, that thank God you overcame, like, what did you think at that time? Because you were worried, like, you were thinking about your kids and you want to provide stability. I think, like, this, what's the statistic? You told me the statistic, like, of like the rates of like,
Well, they call it the silent killer for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Ovarian cancer is one of the uh, worst cancers that kind of takes over women, and they call it the silent killer because you really don't know you have it until it's too late. In my situation, I did have symptoms, but they're very women common symptoms. You're like, oh, it's that time of the month, or oh, I must have ate something that didn't make me feel. They're just very common that you could get from an upset stomach, or from that time of the month type of situation. So you just kind of brush and brush and brush them, and usually by the time it gets really bad, it's spread. And in my situation, it was contained, thank God. And I recognized the symptoms. Like, I'm not a pain person. I don't believe in pain. If my eyelash hurts, I'm popping a pill. Like, I do not believe in having to suffer through pain. So the minute like something hurts, I'm like, I'm going to do the ER. So had I not listened to that, who knows, if I'd still be here. But like it definitely taught me that life is a gift, and we're here today, we may not be here tomorrow. And so, like, you got to take advantage of every single day, and don't push for tomorrow what you can do today, because tomorrow's not promised. And it's not just about you, it's about your family, it's about the people that depend on you. If you're a mother or father, you got to think about your kids. So you got to take care of yourself. If you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for them. And build their future. And we all, like, obviously when we have a family, we want them to do better than what we did, right? But what are you doing to make that the case without sacrificing valuable time? Because your kids also don't want you to be working all the time and never see them, and then you pass away and you leave them all this money, but they have no experience with you, right?
yeah, are they involved? Do you involve the little ones?
They come to the office every now and then, when I do like events and stuff, but no, I mean, they're too little to, want to do it right now. My oldest one, she looks at properties all the time, and she always sends me like, Mom, what do you about this one? What do you think about this one? So she's, kind of getting into it. But my littler ones, they know what I do. They come, their dad does the Hispanic Real Estate Investors Network that now we do completely in Spanish to teach our community how to invest in real estate in their own language. So, we are pretty heavily involved with the organization, and we do a lot of, educational type of seminars for them. But, they at least know what we do, and they understand the value of a home.
Yeah, which is important. I think it's also really important that you guys are involved on the Hispanic side, because I truly believe there's a lot of scammers out there, and there's a lot of people telling you how to get rich quick and how to do this. And someone said, fast money leaves quickly. So how do you make it, how do you grow it and sustain it and keep it, right?
Right.
So, and our Hispanic community doesn't really get that information, right? There's
Right.
really, and they might get cheated. So I'm glad that this is what you're focusing in on, because there's not enough information out there for them.
Really, there isn't. And it's heartbreaking to me when I hear stories of what people that had a little bit of money saved up, they linked up with a realtor or with somebody who already does real estate investing.
Yeah.
They lent them the money with nothing in writing, no documentation, because they saved the money under the mattress, so it was all cash. And now this person's disappeared with their life's earning. Like, how many times do we hear that story, where it's like, oh my God, why would you lend somebody this much money without knowing them, without anything in writing, without any collateral? But again, it's the lack of education from our people. And first thing I always tell people, I'm like, even if it's your own mother, put it in writing. You have to put it in writing. If you don't put it in writing, it does not hold up in court. It's very hard to make it stick. And, whether you win the case or not, at least, you go through the process and you got to put it in writing. Don't just give anybody your money, especially us Latinos. We come here, for a better future. Every penny we make is very well earned. How are you just going to give it up like that? Like it makes no sense. And so that's why we decided to, do it in Spanish so that, they can learn what we learn in English, but in Spanish, because, that's the language they understand better and they feel more comfortable with.
Yeah, which I think it's important that we're doing that. So kudos to you guys for doing that and supporting the Hispanic community. So what's coming up for DS case law? What is in the works for you guys? What are the plans that you guys are moving towards right now?
Yeah, well, I mean, we obviously keep growing, keep helping the community. We're doing a lot of training based on what's happening with immigration. It's just really hard because today is one thing, tomorrow it'll be a totally different thing. The way things are going, but I guess we're in for a rough 3 years more to come. So we're just kind of preparing for that, doing the best we can, expanding the Hispanic Investors Network. We have a conference coming up in Spanish, February, first weekend of February, Conferencia de Cash Flow. And then we have the English 3-day again coming up at the end of February. So we're pretty busy, just kind of trying to get as much education out there, especially right now, because people are scared. People are worried. People need to what do I do if I get detained? How do I make my money grow? How do I make it stretch? Unfortunately, yes, it's good to have some money saved up and put into, 401k and stuff like that, but it's not going to grow as fast as when you have an actual collateral attached to it. And that makes, not only your immigration case stronger, but it makes your cash flow better. It secures your asset. And that's how you become wealthy. You build upon you make your money work for you. I always tell people it's like it kind of works while you sleep, because every mortgage payment you make, you're that much closer to getting positive equity. You get cash flow, and you're just kind of saving it, and it keeps growing and growing and growing. So just trying to educate people as much as possible, and live life to the fullest, because again, you just never know.
Yeah, no, that's great what you're doing right now. And then with all of that being said, I know there's also, are you guys still doing women investor networking events?
Yeah, so we also do the women's networking, real estate networking events, where we basically kind of take everything that the English regular RIAs, Chicago RIA events do, but we just focus it towards women, because sometimes I think women we feel more comfortable around each other. Yeah. And
This is a great question I got for you. Okay, now I got a really good question. I'm looking at Lori. Right, as a woman, I have my opinions. How have you handled yourself as a woman in a male dominant industry? Right?
Yeah. Good question, because, I think sometimes, especially when I started in my legal career, women, I think they felt that they had to be, I want to say, I don't know if I can say, but bees,
No,
they had to be like, you know, tough and like hard, and like, I'm going to be harder on you, because if it took me this long to get here, I'm going to make it even harder for you. And I think it should be the total opposite.
Okay.
I look at it differently. It's like, I'm going to help you climb to the top. I'm not going to make you go through what I went through, because that's how we just kind of keep each other down. We should be pulling each other up. So I don't look at it any different. I don't go with the mentality of, oh, I'm just a woman. How am I going to make it? I'm just as equal as you are, because I know just as much as you do. My blood flows just like yours. We are equal. We're humans. Man or woman, I don't care. If I don't know something, I just say, you know what? I'm really sorry. I don't understand that. Can you explain it again? I always tell people like, hey, don't be afraid to say you don't know. The only dumb question is the one you don't ask. So I don't, feel any different being a woman. There are times that you can use it to your advantage, like I think, again, I look at the cup half full and half empty. Use it to your advantage, sometimes, because men may think that, oh, you're just a woman. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm just a woman. I'm not really sure. How do I do this? Whatever. If it's going to get the job done, it'll get the job done. Use it to your advantage. Don't look at it as a crutch. Look at it as, an asset.
That's good. No, but that's sometimes where you have to play be specific, be strategic, right?
Right, exactly.
Like women have to know how to get what they need to get, however they need to get it, right?
Exactly, as long as it's legal.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Coming from the attorney.
Yes, yes, as long as it's legal and, you don't, compromise any of your personal morals and beliefs, like, hey, you know, use what you can to get where you need to get, and without having to, cause anybody any harm or anything like that. Even just being Latina, like I don't go in there thinking I'm a Latina woman. I go in there thinking I'm a real estate investor, I'm an attorney, I'm just as good as you are.
Absolutely. And I think even and when you're more knowledgeable as a woman in real estate, you get more respect from your male peers. Right.
Exactly.
If you're serious and you really carry yourself in a way and you talk and they hear like, oh, she really knows what she's talking about,
Right.
then right away the respect is there.
Right, exactly. And then if the respect isn't there, you give it right back. I don't care who you are. If you're gonna disrespect me, you're gonna get the same from me. And even especially like older white males, not to like, put anybody in a box, but I get a lot of older white male attorneys sometimes that, they talk to you a certain way because they're like, oh, you're just a young Latina attorney. And it's like, no, I don't care. Right here, we're equal. You're not my elder, and if you're gonna disrespect me, you're gonna get the same back from me. But if we're gonna be professionals, we're gonna be professionals. Like I don't look at you any differently. We're equal.
Well, you've been doing this for 20 years. You
Yeah.
and you were a prosecutor. It wasn't like
Yeah, exactly. It's like you kind of, like I like to be fair. Like hey, if something on my end is wrong, like let's try to fix it. But if something on your end is wrong, don't come sit here and try and act like it's not. Let's be adults and let's fix it, because I think being an attorney is about helping people fix their problems, not making them bigger just so you can make more money, because that's not what we should be doing. But unfortunately,
Yeah, so many times I've heard people in real estate where they say, "Oh, I found this deal and I brought it to an attorney, and then the attorney tries taking it from me."
yeah, yeah.
And I was just sitting there like, "My God," right? Like, I'm so glad my attorney doesn't do that,
Yeah, it's unfortunate because I've seen that too, where I've had to tell attorneys like, "I'm sorry, are you the realtor or are you the investor? Your job is to worry about the legality of this deal, not whether the price is appropriate, not whether, this neighborhood is good or not. That's not your job. Stick to your job." But then you come to realize they're really trying to kill the deal because either they want to take it or they have somebody else they want to take it. And that's where you're just like, that is so unethical. That is not what you're supposed to do. And, unfortunately, I always tell people, especially investors, you got to pick the right attorney,
That's true.
because if you don't pick the right attorney, your attorney can literally kill your deal.
Wow.
Literally, they can cause you to kill your deal because you put all your faith on them and they're telling you something that's not accurate. And now you're going to walk away from the deal. And guess what? A couple of weeks later, that same attorney's either going to pick up the deal or all of a sudden one of her clients picked up the deal. And all of a sudden, it's a good deal.
Yeah. Oh, no, no. And I know exactly what you're talking about because there's been times that you've worked with me in the deal and you've saved the deal because the other end was acting crazy. And I was
Right.
like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's a doggy dog world
It
sometimes.
is,
You wouldn't think
it
you'd think real estate boring. No.
No, at all.
Drama.
It is very much so. So, I mean, I appreciate all the information that you're sharing because, I mean, it is a lot. And I think you're right, having the right attorney is critical for real estate deals. And I think even for the wholesaling component.
Yeah.
So many times I run across wholesalers who wholesale properties and they have no idea what the heck they're doing, nor does their lawyer know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Can I borrow your contract?" I'm like, "Look, this is my lawyer. Go reach out to her and get the contract from her. This is the contract I use. Her information's on it." So,
Yeah.
but there's so many times that they don't even have the right team to help them.
No. And I get, so many attorneys that'll reach out and say, can you help me? I know you do these a lot. And I have no problem. I'll be like, sure. To me, they're not competition. We're colleagues. So, one day I may need something from them. So I try to, help as much as I can. But if you're going to sit here and, kill my deal because you don't know what you're talking about, we're going to have a problem because just admit you don't really understand this deal. You don't know how it works. I will be more than happy to walk you through it. But when you're sitting here acting like what we're doing is illegal or like, there's something compromising the deal, we're going to have a problem.
Yeah, yeah, no, So
Yeah.
now I'm
You've seen it
flirting.
all.
All right. So if someone wants to get in touch with you, Gina, where would they go?
Yeah, you guys can always visit our website. It's diazcase.com, D-I-A-Z, case, C-A-S-E.com. Or, I always give out my personal cell phone, 773-318-0216. Or you can email me at gina@diazcaselaw.com.
And then all the law, right? You said you do mainly real estate, but you do immigration.
We
What
do
else?
civil, we do foreclosure defense evictions, we do some criminal and some family law, so and personal injury. So we kind of do it all. I have other attorneys that work for me, so it's not just me. And we can if we can't do it, we have other attorneys that we work with that we can refer you to.
Beautiful. So that you heard that. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching. This has been an amazing conversation. You guys reach out to Gina if you need any help with law. Just her website. They're showing it right now on the YouTube channels. But thank you so much for being with us. Make sure you guys follow me, Jennifer Sanchez, or Wise Coffee Chat Show on YouTube. You guys have a great and amazing rest of your week. God bless.